Good morning, everyone. I'm Angel Upshaw with the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, and I would like to thank you all for joining us here at Cobb Safety Village for this important message. Today is May 1st, and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration proclaims May 1st as National Heatstroke Prevention Day. We are here to raise awareness on a preventable tragedy that continues to claim lives each year. I would like to thank the Georgia Department of Early Care and Learning for their Look Again campaign and their continued efforts of prevention toward vehicular heat stroke. While we're here, we have a thermometer inside a vehicle that will show you just how hot the inside of a vehicle can get in such a short period of time. When we put the thermometer inside the vehicle at 10:45, the temperature inside the vehicle was around 80 degrees, in the mid 80 degrees. And as you can see, just with it being 11 o'clock, it is now 101 degrees Fahrenheit inside that vehicle. With that being said, now I would like to introduce our first speaker, the Director of the Georgia Governor's Office of Highway Safety, Alan Poole.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. First of all, I'd like to thank our media partners for joining us here today. Also, I'd like to thank Safe Kids Cobb and the Georgia Department of Early Care and Learning for helping us host this campaign of getting awareness out today. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, otherwise known as NHTSA, has designated May 1st as National Vehicular Heat Stroke Prevention Day. The goal today is to prevent any person, especially children, from dying in a heat stroke vehicle. Children are more prone to heat because their body rises something more than 3 to 5 times faster than adult temperature in a vehicle. Last year, 39 children died in heat stroke vehicles. That's 23% increase from 2023. Unfortunately, according to nostroke.org, a 4-month-old child died in March this year in New Jersey. Think about it, New Jersey. At that time, the temperature was 68 degrees. Vehicle heat stroke can happen at any time and anywhere during the year. As we all know, we're getting ready to head into Georgia summers, and Georgia summers can fluctuate real quickly. We want to remind all parents, caregivers, and everyone to stop, look, and lock. Stop and look means that usually if you're not transporting a small child or taking a child to school, we want you to take this opportunity every time and stop. And we ask that you place something in the back seat so that it will remind you to stop and take a look in your back seat, especially when you're not used to transporting a small person, a child, every day. Because small children are so vulnerable and they easily can crawl into a car, a SUV, and it's somewhere for them to play. And once they get inside, the door's locked, it will become a trap. If you see a small child in a parked vehicle, please call 911 immediately. And if you see the child in distress, the law gives you the authority to enter that vehicle. Our efforts to prevent vehicular heat stroke deaths also include our partners with the Department of Early Care and Learning. DECAL training programs and care workers have saved many lives over the past 12 years, and we want to continue that partnership, and we will continue that partnership. The $30,000 grant that we have awarded DECAL this year will serve as media campaigns throughout the summer. This message reminds everyone to stop, look, and make sure that is no one or no child left in the rear of the vehicle. So once again, on behalf of our Governor, Brian Kemp, and the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, I want to thank you for being here, and I want to remind you our goal is 0 fatality. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director Poole. I would now like to introduce our next speaker, Commissioner Amy Jacobs with the Georgia Department of Early Care and Learning.
Well, thank you and good morning. I am Amy Jacobs, the Commissioner of the Georgia Department of Early Care and Learning, and it is that time of year again, the time to remind all of us who transport children in the upcoming stifling, very hot months to always look again. We are honored to partner again this year with the Governor's Office of Highway Safety and Safe Kids Cobb to remind Georgians that pediatric vehicular heat stroke caused by leaving a child unattended in a car, truck, van, or bus is completely preventable. DECAL is the Department of State government responsible for licensing and regulating the child care and education industry in Georgia. Hundreds of thousands of children in our state are enrolled daily in licensed child care programs, most of whom regularly transport to and from school and on field trips. It's DECAL's job to ensure that these youngest learners are cared for in healthy and safe child care environments, including those times they are transported. So this annual Look Again campaign began more than a decade ago after a Georgia child died tragically when she was left unattended in the child care provider's vehicle. That child would be here today if the child care provider had looked again to ensure all the children were accounted for. Like Director Poole stated, unfortunately last year 39 children throughout the United States died from pediatric vehicular heat stroke. Sadly, 2 of those children live right here in Georgia. A 2-year-old boy from Marietta and a 4-year-old boy in Fitzgerald, both in July. Last year, 10 children were left in vehicles by child care providers statewide, and so far this year in 2025, as of April, 8 Georgia children have been left in vehicles. Thankfully, these children were discovered in time and none of them were seriously injured. So here's what happens when DECAL does receive a report that a child in child care was left in a vehicle. One of our trained consultants goes to the center or family child care home and investigates the incident by interviewing the people involved and carefully reviewing the provider's documentation relating to transporting children. If the incident is substantiated, DECAL does issue a citation to the provider, and the most important part is providing additional training and technical assistance to ensure that this incident does not happen again. But today's reminder to look again isn't just for child care providers. It applies to communities, neighborhoods, schools, churches, sports teams, families, friends, to anyone, to all of us who care for and transport children. Actually, more children are left unattended in vehicles while they are in the care of their own family or friends. But most of us, child care providers, parents, grandparents, and other relatives and friends think this would never happen. I would never leave a child unattended in a car or van, but unfortunately it does happen. So please join us in spreading the word that pediatric vehicular homicide can be prevented by never leaving a child alone in a vehicle, even for a minute. And when you've turned off the motor and checked your car or van to make sure everyone is out, look again to double, even triple check, and then close and lock the door. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for your help in making these next few months fun and safe for children and families in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Commissioner Jacobs, and for all that you do for child safety. Before I introduce our last speaker, I would just like to direct your attention again to the thermometer display. As you can see, while this news conference is going on, the temperature inside the vehicle is continuing to rise. So I just wanted to point that out. Our last speaker, I would like to introduce Ms. Diana Vaughn with Safe Kids, Cobb, and Douglas County.
Thank you so much. I am Diana Vaughn, and I am the Safe Kids Injury Prevention Director for Cobb and Douglas Public Health. I've been asked to provide some additional supplemental information on car seat checks. We want to encourage families to get their car seats checked either at inspection stations or at seat checks around the state. To find one close to you, you can go to safekids.org. That is the Safe Kids Worldwide website. Plug in your zip code and they will tell you what events and what inspection stations are close to you. We encourage you to come and have your car seat checked at every transition point. When you first have your baby, when you're ready to turn your baby forward facing and they've outgrown that rear facing seat, when you're ready to transition from that forward facing harness to the booster seat. Even when they're ready to come out of the booster seat, the adult seat belt may not fit them right. In Georgia, the law is 8. Kids have to be in an appropriate car seat until they are at least 8 years old. But even at 8, a lot of times the adult seat belt may not fit them right. Usually it doesn't start fitting right until they're about 4'9", and most 7 and 8-year-olds are not that tall. So please come see us or other providers around the state to get those car seats inspected. The vast majority, there's something that needs to be corrected. So please take that time for additional safety. And we also do provide more information about tips on preventing pediatric heat stroke too. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Vaughn. Before I close, let's take one last look at this thermometer display and see the final temperatures outside the vehicle. The outside temperature is 76.7 degrees Fahrenheit. As we can see out here, it's very breezy. You know, it's comfortable outside, but in the inside of that vehicle, it is a whopping 102 degrees Fahrenheit, which is no condition that any child should be left in. Today, we all share the same goal, and that is having 0 hot car deaths in Georgia. Vehicular heat stroke is preventable, and we ask that all parents and caregivers follow these tips that were given by our speakers today. Remember, when you are getting out of your vehicle, stop, look, and lock. Stop, look in your vehicle, look in the back seat, the front seat for any precious valuables that you might have left, and always lock your vehicle at any time. Thank you to our media partners that are here today. And this concludes our National Heat Stroke Prevention Day news conference. Thank you.